Welcome back, everybody. It's great to have you back. Thank you for those of you who've made all the classes. It's wonderful. And those of you who have made some and are back with us. It's just a delight to be doing these practices with you, and I have learned a lot. So thank you very much for making the course, and to Tom and to Connie for having the inspiration to do this on Zoom with you folks. And it's been really useful for me as a teacher. I want to run through some of the things that we have run through every week, sort of our Zoom celebration of doing soft hand Shintaido by repeating the same things over and over again. That, like we did before, we'll do some introductory exercises to get us moving before we start talking. Then we'll sit and talk a little bit, and then we'll do the main part of the class, and then we'll sit and talk a little bit, and we will finish by 10:15 today. First, I wanted to check in with everybody. For last week was our fourth class. Any physical problems that I should know about? Twisted ankles, sore knees, aching back. I'm particularly concerned about backs for some of these slow movements. And just a reminder again, it's a Zoom class. That means I can't see you very well. You're these teeny tiny postage stamped spots by the time I get back there, so you can see my feet. So please take a look around, look for stray cats, look for stray rugs, look for stray children or children's toys or whatever might be cluttering up the floor that you might step on or trip on or any of those other bad things, and make it go to someplace else. Don't get hurt. If I ask you to do something and you think, I don't want to do that, don't do it. This is not Jane Fonda. We're not no pain, no gain. It's not that. We're doing a different kind of thing. And the more I teach this kind of work, the more I find that my body works best if I'm at about 95% challenge level. That means 95% of what I'm doing is not a challenge. So I don't want you to be striving, because I don't want that part of your brain engaged. I want the part of your brain engaged that is it's not resting, but it's quiet. And especially today, we're going to be talking about being still enough to get our unification game possible. And just in case you have to leave early, please leave us a comment so that I know you didn't, collapse off camera or something like that. All right, we're going to warm up a little bit, do the same movements we did last time, pretty much basically. But last time we've talked about unification with self, ware, unification with chi, earth, with unification with heaven, ten, unification with others, ware. And today is a unification Ittai, which sort of means unification with unification, or unification with one, or unification with big something. We have all kinds of words for Ittai. Here's the character. It means one body. So theoretically, we are one body when we're practicing. And that's a little easier said than done. But as a matter of fact, in my experience, we really are one body. I forget. I don't know about you guys, but I forget. I get busy and my monkey brain chatters, and I forget that I'm part of one body, but that doesn't mean that I'm not. It just means that I forgot about it. All right, stand up. So we're going to start with feeling all our muscles in our bones, and sort of waking up our skeletal muscles, and especially waking up our feet. And we're going to start by finding your toes and then wiggling your toes, sweet toes. Before I started Shintaido, my toes had no idea that they could open. They didn't know that toes could do that. And then I found out they could, and it made my shoe size a lot wider and my feet a lot happier. So we're opening toes, kind of shifting the feet. Just remind yourself that there's all those little independent bones in your feet that want to move, and they want to help you stand up. And especially it's getting, I heard some people mention snow, probably some people are getting ice. We're getting a little frost occasionally here. It's really slick out. So we want things to work fluidly for us so that we can remain vertical, even in non-advantageous circumstances, like you step on a slick rock or a pile of leaves or something else that's slippery. All right, so you're just going one, rise up on the ball of the foot and the other ball of the foot, or the ball of the other foot, depending on how you think about things. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, rok, shich, hach. And we're talking about Ittai today, but Ittai, honestly, that's a pretty big concept. And if we don't have our connection to chi, to the ground, it's going to be really hard. So first we'll get to all our body connected downwards. Pull your toes in like you're pulling in that little hand towel or a dish towel. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Other foot. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Okay. And then lift your toes, feel the ankle bones, excuse me, flex and relax. Feel your knees flex and relax. Feel your hip sockets. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Find your fingers kind of just wiggling around in space. Let them feel the air. You probably have a little bit of air moving around in your room. Maybe you have a window open or something. Or you've got air moving because you're moving. You can feel it against your skin. And your fingers are moving in that air. And they're, you can take your wrists and stretch them like this. Gently, if it hurts, find some other way to stretch. Ni, san, shi, great. And work the ball of your base of your thumb. San, shi, go. Another side. Ich, ni, san. I'm just working this big muscle at the base of my thumb. Okay. And let your fingers relax. Let your elbows relax. Let your shoulders relax. We've talked about this several times, but just remind yourself that your shoulder girdle floats. It's only connected to the rest of the body here at the little dip between the collarbone and the sternum. And otherwise, it floats free, but it's kind of gets stuck because, among other things, we spend a lot of time on Zoom meetings staring at screens. So, ich, ni, san, shi, go. Very good. Okay. Now we're going to find the core muscles. And you remember that we had a column of light or whatever other thing you like to visualize, but I like to have a column of light. My column is about the width of my neck, maybe a little bit bigger. And it goes right down through, hypothetically, of course, that through the center of my body, right in front of the front part of my backbone. The back part of my backbone, I have my hands on. So the front part reaches into the body a little ways. Right in front of that is that big column of light going down to my abdominal floor. And the abdominal floor is awesome because it's connected to all the muscles that are around your hip socket, which is awesome because they, among other things, keep you standing up. So you want as much flexibility there as possible so that we can stay standing when we want to. Okay, and imagine that you've got a river of energy or any other thing that you like to think of. Your foot goes down, you shift your weight, comes up and across and down and up and across and down. And you lift up with your collarbones, let them float and down. Let your shoulder blades reach down along your ribs. And for me, there's a feeling, I don't know if any of you do the universal post, but when you do that, or when you do Bokto, when we do any of these things that have to do with core energy, really important for me to keep the under the armpit, these muscles energized. Otherwise, my collarbone gets squished, and I don't have. I have to optimize my performance because my conformation isn't optimal. So I need to make sure that all of those muscles are as free as possible. Okay. And this may seem really weird to you, but if you're interested in relaxing your throat, one of the best ways to do it is to stick your tongue out. This just looks silly. So you're sticking your tongue out, yeah, and that stretches the tongue, which roots down here in the throat. It's a pretty big muscle. Now, find the back of your mouth where you have a gag reflex, where the soft palate is, and imagine that those muscles in the soft palate are relaxing upwards so that the cavity of your mouth in back, down where you swallow, is getting bigger up into your head. So it's kind of relaxing upwards, just like the diaphragm domes up this way, and this your roof of your mouth kind of domes up. I find that helps me relax these muscles in my neck. Just go ahead and reach up and relax massage those muscles a little bit around the, can you see what I'm doing? Around the ear here. They get pretty tight because Zoom meetings, right? And if you don't happen to be wearing a set of headphones, go ahead and rub your jaw and get those muscles all relaxed too. We'll come back and do that again a little later on in the day. We're going to let your arms float up. Now, I'm going to bend my knees. That's not part of the movement. That's just so my arms will fit on the camera. So up and let them just float down. And up and float down. And we're going to go up and float down. And up and float down. Great. And just breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Right. Yummy. Okay. Take a seat. So we're talking about Ittai, which I was working on last night. One of the ways to translate it is together as one. Literally, it means one body. So it's a kind of together as one, kind of the same one that we are when we do a big wakame taiso in a circle with a whole bunch of people moving off of each other. Sometimes in Zen literature or Buddhist literature, I think I've seen it called the world of one. It's kind of that, remember last week we talked about the big silence that is underneath all of the chatter and noise of our world and that holds everything together. Stands under us, supports us, gives us rest, and also gives us energy to do cool stuff. And as we're going about our busy lives, being supported by that energy, it's real easy to think that we're very separate, like we're just little walnuts rolling down the pavement together, but separate, and we bounce on each other, but we don't really connect. And we feel that's pretty important. I've got stuff to do, got stuff to accomplish here. And so we get this great contradiction in our heads. I think it's very powerful, a little frustrating, but very powerful, to hold this wonderful contradiction of oneness and separateness at the same time, and interdependence and independence, and shadow and sunlight, and better and worse. All those contradictions give us, I think, a lot of resilience and strength on top of frustration. It's kind of like an orchestra tuning up. You remember you hear some philharmonic orchestra, they're tuning up at the beginning, and it sounds like noise, right? Except all these wonderful instruments making these wonderful sounds. They're quite discordant because they're busy doing their tuning up. But underneath it, there's the beauty of the sounds too. So it's a very it's a big strange harmony, and you've probably already figured out that we talk about Toitsu in Shintaido, right? Unification. And Ittai, I think the characters, Itsu is the character for one. The last part of Toitsu, Itsu is one, and Ittai is also one, so that's the same. But I'm pretty sure that there are 3 or 4 or more Japanese philosophers and linguistic experts who are actively debating the difference between Ittai and Toitsu. There are probably books written about it in Japanese. But anyway, I think they're somewhat similar, and there's some area of power there. So through this whole series, we've been using soft hand Shintaido to bring our bodies into alignment. And first, we found harmony with ourselves, between our body and our mind, and then between our body and chi or earth, and then between our body and ten or heaven, and last week our body and others, always a challenge. And this week it's our body with the body, I guess you could say, together as one. And when we did all that, the first class we learned inward, and the second class we looked downward to get more grounded, and the third class we reached up to get more energy. And last week we reached out to others and became more aware of them and how to connect with people without actual physical contact. And this week we're working primarily on being still and making room in ourselves to be open to all of those things so that we can truly be together as one. It's kind of like a house with the windows all open. It's like you becoming one with everything. It's a unique house, but all this air is moving through it. Okay. And last week I told you how surprised I was by the irimi techniques when I first started practicing Shintaido, because I had no idea that you could move in as to do anything. I didn't think that was good except for kissing people, and it just hadn't occurred to me. And all these effective interactions that you can have by moving into and sharing the other person's space and making it a fluid space where you interact together. Irimi and wakame, and especially large group wakame, I was just astonished. I had no idea. It really changed my ideas about flexibility and about how to live with confrontation and how to live with conflict. And when we learn those movements in the dojo, and we really get them under our skin, they're really integrated into our movement and our breathing, then it changes how we move through the world outside the dojo. And it changes what we do, it changes how we live, and of course, for us as instructors, it changes how we teach and how we manifest the the practice that's in our bodies, how we manifest it out so that our students can connect with it. So today I want to continue the experiment that we started last week. We're going to do the same program that we've done every class, but with emphasis this time on being still and being open. And after the breathing exercise, we'll do a Zoom variation of a kind of Irimi Kumite, courtesy of Minagawa Sensei. And we'll finish up with soft hand Tenshin Goso. I'm going to finish the class around 10 o'clock so that we have a little time for feedback, 10 or 10:05. Okay, so here we go with Ittai. Together as one, making space for silence and connection. Please stand up and mute your microphones if Connie hasn't muted them already. And we'll start with the same exercise that we have been doing. Okay. And we're going to be using, again, as we have been, we'll use our voice as an extension of our bodies and how we are present and how we are connected. Okay. So, I just told you to all stand up and I lied because we're going to sit down again and do some massage because massage. So I want to start with the neck and head a little bit because of all this zooming that we're doing and reading, and we have a pretty forward bending lifestyle, most of us. You know, we rarely climb trees and get honey. We rarely pick up things and put them on our heads and walk with awesome posture because we have, you know, weight on our heads. We do so much that causes us to lean forward. So in order to open that up, I think you'll find there's a lot of muscles that are tight, and we won't try to work on them all today, but I think you'll find that it's really helps to work the, never hurts to work the sternocleidomastoid, the SCM muscle right here. You just kind of stroke it. If it hurts, you can think about it. You don't have to do it, but if it feels good, please go ahead. And I find it particularly helpful for the work that I'm doing right now with getting my head back on my shoulders. I find it very helpful to work on these muscles here. So go ahead and move your fingers up to the base of your skull, across those big muscles. Sa, shi, go. Great. Okay. Now, let's do foot massage because who doesn't like foot massage? And besides, we're going to be standing on our feet and we want them to hold us up. All right. That's still not far enough. Excuse me. All right. So we're going to start with foot rotation. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Other direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. And pull your toes. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. 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 Little toe. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Take both thumbs and work down the kind of the middle of your foot. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. And massage this muscle at the base of the heel. Gently squeeze your feet. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Great. And find a place to put your foot so you can work around the ankle. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Good. Other foot. Gentle rotation. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Other direction. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Pull toes. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Ich, ni, san, she, go, ich, ni, san, she, go, ich, ni, san, she, go, ich, ni, san, she, go. Very good. And both thumbs on the bottom of the foot. Ich, ni, san, she, go. Ich, ni, san, she, go. Gently squeezing. Ich, ni, san, she, go. Ich, ni, san, she, go. Very good. Put your foot down where you can massage the ankle. Ich, ni, san, she, go. Ich, ni, san, she, go. Excellent. Okay. Now let's stand up and do some stuff. All right. So we're going to start with the bow. And I usually tell my beginners that I don't tell them anything the first class, but after 3 or 4 classes, I start talking about the bow a little bit. And I tell them that they can come into the space. And if they choose to, when they bow, they can leave stuff at the door, like as they come in. They can leave whatever baggage, psychological baggage they have at the door. And then, they might need, it's like defenses and things like that. And they might need some of it. So when they leave it, they can pick up whatever they want to take back with them. But some of it, they might decide after class, they don't want to carry it around anymore. And that resonates with some people. And some people just stare at me like, oh, okay. So we're going to bow, reach from the side, looks like this. Great. So we'll start with Mokso. And Mokso, we're going to stand up and reach down into the ground. Connect to the energy of the earth. It's very silent. Connect to that big silence. And soft hands to your hips and then palms up. It's very peaceful. Right hand over left. Everything's floating. You're drawing your hands back. Left thumb inside the right. This is a nested hands, but there's still not, there's space here. They're not hanging on tightly, so there's no white knuckles. Come back to the Tanden. This is Om and release. And I use that method of getting into the meditation position just to help people get quiet, because they usually come out of a pretty noisy world. Okay, so let's start that whole thing again. Ready? Reach out. Draw in. Release. And Mokso. Well done. And bow again. Why not bow a lot? Okay, we're ready to start. We're going to use our movements to find out where we are and where the ground is and where energy outside us is, the big, big heaven, and where the other people are and where the silence is. So the silence that brings us together. But before we do that, we're going to make sure that we're in touch with the ground, just like we did in the warm-up, stepping from one foot to the other. Each knee, sun, she. Now keep your heels down and gradually shift your weight. I'm in Heisokadachi. Weight is, we're just going to shift to the front and to the back and to the front and to the back and to the side and side and side and side. Very good. And imagine that you've got the river of energy that comes up and across and down and up and across and down and up and across and down and up and across and down. Very good. Go ahead and widen your feet to Hachijidachi. So toes are pointed out just a little bit, kind of a, it's called Hachijidachi because the word Hachi is Japanese for 8, and the characters look like this a little bit if you really stretch your imagination. Okay, so your knees are staying over your toes and not wobbling, your ankles aren't wobbling. And the knees shouldn't go too much beyond your toes, just because of Western principles of healthy physiological, medical physiology or anatomical physiology. Even if you can do it without hurting yourself, you will upset some people in your class who've had training in Western physiology. Back to center, and out, and back, and out. Energy across and down, up, across and down. Gradually your abdominal floor is waking up, across and down, up, across and down. Okay, now stand still, don't shift your weight, and up on one foot and the other foot, and one foot and the other foot, and one foot and the other foot, and one foot. And we're going to, if your knees are up for it, you can do the same thing in Musubidachi with your heels together. So up and down and up and down and shift and shift and shift and shift. Okay. And Hachijidachi, if you want to, if it doesn't bother your knees, and go up on one toe and then up on the other toe and then down and down and up and up and and down and down, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Other foot first, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Very good. Okay, and all of these weight shifts are really helpful for getting us centered and grounded, and they reduce the risk of falls, and I find that they also help me get quieter in my body. Okay? So now we know where our feet are. So we're going to find our hands and our arms. Wiggle your fingers like you did earlier. Feel all the bones in your hands. Go ahead and massage up your arm a little bit. Feel all the muscles connecting to the bones. And move your upper arms in space. So you're going to move your fingers, and that'll kind of relax your wrists. You can move your forearm, and that'll relax your elbows. You can move your upper arm, and that'll relax your shoulders. Find your armpits. Feel the muscles. There's the big pectoral muscles, and then there's a whole bunch of muscles that come around from the back too. If you move your shoulder blades up and down, you can feel some of those, and they like to be awake because if they're moving around a little bit, they get more oxygen, which makes them happy. Go ahead and turn your head from side to side. Massage it a little bit more if you feel like it. Turning, turning, turning. Chin down, turning, 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 turning. Very good. Okay. Now we're going to start our connecting. So stand still. Let your feet reach down. Let your collarbones float. Let your head float. Ooh, everything's calm. And we're going to let the body quiet our minds down because I don't know about yours, but my mind sure does chatter a lot. So you start with breathing from your koshi. You're going to fill your koshi with air or energy or something, and then let it out. And I like to vision it as a light that gets brighter as I fill it up. And then it gets smaller as I let my breath out. It's like kind of like a bellows. And breathe out. Every time you breathe in, it fills up more. And breathe out. And that energy that's filling your belly, after it fills your belly enough, it starts to run down through your hip sockets and down through your legs. And breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in. It goes down towards your knees. And breathe out. And meanwhile, energy is coming up through your feet. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. And up through your ankles. Breathe in. Breathe out. Up through your knees. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, and it runs together with the energy coming down. Breathe out. Meanwhile, your fingers are reaching out into the air, and energy is flowing in through your fingers. Breathe in. Breathe out. And energy is moving up through your wrists. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Up through your elbows. Breathe in. Breathe out. Meanwhile, you're so full of energy in your lower body, it's beginning to rush up through your upper body, rising up through your upper abdomen, through your diaphragm, filling your ribs, and breathe out. Breathe in. Up through your shoulder girdle, breathe out. Breathe in, filling up your shoulders where it meets the energy coming in from your fingers. Breathe out. Meanwhile, energy is coming down from above. That's a metaphorical down. You can imagine it coming, streaming down through that pillar into your body, if you like that pillar of light image. And breathe out. And breathe in. That energy fills your head, fills your mouth, your nose and your ears. Everything's warm. And breathe out. Comes down through your throat. Reminds all those cool little muscles in your throat that they can relax. And it runs together with the energy coming up from your belly. So now you're like a unit of energy. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax. Wiggle your toes. Sorry. Wiggle your fingers. All right. Breathe in one time. Whole body breath and breathe out. Very good. All right. From there, one more time, breathe in, float up, hands overhead, and down. One more time, open hands, up, overhead, right hand is closer to your head, scan down. The bending knees is just so you can see my hands. It's not, you don't have to do that. And stand your ground. And this time with soft fists, up, all the way down, and stand. And relax. And from there, we're going to move into wakame. And just relax with your hands at your sides. And imagine that you're a wakame seaweed in a nice warm ocean. And the ocean comes by and you shift. But we're in a confined space, so don't move your feet, except just a little bit if you need to keep your balance. And back. And sweep. And back. And sweep. And back. Make sure your hips are involved. Your whole body is flexing. But it always comes back to vertical because you're a seaweed and that's where the sun is up there. So you move with the water. But you always come back to vertical. Okay, so now for our experiment, I want to try out, last time we did wakame in a kind of group and you picked a partner. And this time I wanted, excuse me. Sorry about that. Um, we're going to use this arm movement from attention go, so it's also from Taimyo. So we twist the little finger up, and then we open up. So as we twist this way, we're cutting ourselves. And as we open this way, we're cutting the other person. And twist. And open. If I were working with my beginners, I wouldn't say cut the other person because that wouldn't make sense to them. I just say you're moving through your body and you're moving through their body. And the other side. So up and out. Up and out. And as an instructor, I find it's really important for me to get the tenso feeling when I'm coming up. So I'm letting myself be cut and out. And up and out. Great. Okay, so let's try that. We'll start together and we'll just practice one side and the other. Okay. So just mirror me and we'll mirror each other too when we're working together. So come back and out. And I think it's going to work best if we maybe even step back and step forward. Yeah, let's do that. And back and forward. And other side, back and forward. And back and forward. And back and forward. Great. Okay. And alternating, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. Okay, I've changed my mind. For Zoom, I think it's better not to step. It's just too confusing. I'm just imagining my beginners. That's not going to work very well. So let's just stand with Hisogodachi, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to do it as a group, so you can just go ahead and pick somebody that you want to work with. You don't have to tell them. Are we still on? Great. Okay. I'll just tell you back and forward, okay? So let's bow to the group. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, just move freely and shift and shift and shift and shift and shift. Make sure your shoulders are flexing with you. Make sure your hips are flexing with you. Shift, shift, and shift, and shift, and shift. Now drop your arms and just do wakame with each other. You can half close your eyes or keep your eyes on your partner. Shift, 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 shift. Gradually bring yourself back. Ayame. Great. Well done. So to end, we're going to do soft hand tenshin goso. We'll start like we did at the beginning of the class. We'll start from Om. So, and we're looking for an open stillness and attentiveness without anticipation, which is so much easier to say than it is to actually do. Okay. Hands out in front, right hand on top. Open up softly. The bent knees are just so you can see my hands. Twist. Back to your hips. Round to the back. Right hand on top. Ayame. Release your hands. Mokso. Mokso yame. And to the group. Hey. Thank you, everybody. Okay.
Perhaps we'd like to do one last mokuso so we can finish our series and end and not feel too abrupt. Would you like to lead that, Lee? Or?
Yeah. Let's stand up. Okay. Big stillness. Reach out. Release your hands. Feet hip width apart. Mokso. Mokso Yame. Enter the group. Great. Thank you.